this video, we'll be talking about how to find a file using Python that is really outside of the path where your script exists. So I first start with importing my OS library. That's a standard library, so there is nothing special that you need to install. Then I set my current path using to the current working directory using the OS library. Now I want to pause here because I also want to quickly point out what my current path is set to. And so if you notice here, it's my current path for this findfile.py is in users, Oscar, GitHub, YT examples, general, as you can partially see from my folder here where we have YT examples, and underneath that we have general, and then within that we have the findfile.py, which is this file that we're working at. So that lines up. And I mentioned to take a note of that because we'll be talking about levels in a little bit. The next piece of code that I want to show is the file search, right? And this is essentially a substring that you'll be kind of searching for. You can set this substring to be a specific file, such as like myprogram.exe or myanalysis.xls or whatever the file name is, very specific. Or you can have it be, kind of more of a substring. And in my case, I decided to do a substring where I'm looking for any file that is named find me. And if you look over here to my tree view, you will see that in this new folder, I have 3 files with the find me name in there, right? Or as part of the file, excuse me. So that's what I'm searching for in this example. Next, I want to have a variable where I want to store my search results. So I name that variable files found. You can name it search results, whatever makes most sense to you. And levels up. Now this is really a control to kind of keep the program from going too far up and taking too long to search or walk through the entire directory listings. If you wanted to, you can set this to 2000, just depending on how far nested you are in the operating system and how far up you want to go. But in reality, you may not want to do that. That may not be practical all the time, right? It'll just make the program run for a little too long. Next, I'm going to set a counter, and this counter is going to work to kind of stop and evaluate itself against the levels up variable. And in fact, for this first one, I'm just going to go up 1 level. So as you see, we're in the general folder, so it should start, my search will start at the YT examples. All right, so now going to the meat of it, right? I start with a while loop that's like never ending, and I'm going to set a variable parent directory to the OS path dir name of my current path. And so this is really just going to give me the directory above. Now I'm going to do a quick logic check and say if my parent directory is equal to my current path, then I want to stop. The reason I'm doing that is because if I'm at my root directory, there isn't really anywhere else that I can go above my root, so it would just like never terminate. Otherwise, I do want to set my current path to my parent directory and continue to traverse my way up the directory paths and increase my counter. Now, if my counter value is greater than or equal to my levels up, that's when I know when to break. Otherwise, I will keep on going. Then I have this message to let us know where we're going to be starting the search. And once we capture that, we're basically going to walk through the current path and iterate through all the files and folders and anything that contains a substring that I listed above in file search. I will go ahead and add it to my files found variable, or basically my search results. So let's go ahead and run that. And as you can see here, I started searching at YT examples, which is 1 level up above general, and I found these 3 files as expected. If I were to set my levels up to 2, I would expect this to start at users Oscar's GitHub as it did and find those same 3 files. You can test it out by adding additional files, in your operating system or directory structure, outside of like this view, and just see how that works. You can do other modifications, such as if you want to search for a number of files, right, and be specific about the list, you can change this to be a list and then kind of just change the logic here, the conditional statement, where it's searching or evaluating the file against a specific item on the list, and then look for those specific results. So you can kind of really just play around with this for it to meet your needs. All right, well, thank you for watching. The code will be in the description.